Ladies and gentlemen, college football week number 5 is officially here, and I cannot believe that we are already a third of the way through the college football regular season. But anyways, college football week number 5 is going to be an amazing one, so let's get into previewing and predicting the biggest games of college football week number 5. The first big game of college football week number 5 takes place on Friday, September 29th, as the Utah Utes will take on the Oregon State Beavers. And this is an absolutely huge college football and Pac-12 game. Utah is currently ranked number 10 in the nation, while Oregon State is ranked number 19. And this game will be taking place in Reser Stadium located in Corvallis, Oregon. And surprisingly, in this game, Oregon State is actually favored over the Utah Utes. However, things could be much different. As many of us know, Utah has an amazing quarterback in Cameron Rising. However, he has been injured since last season in the Rose Bowl as he tore his ACL against the Penn State Nittany Lions. And he has yet to return for the Utah Utes, and their offense has looked completely awful without him. And he could possibly return for this game, so this could be a huge piece in this game. However, I'm going to assume that he does not play in this game as he has not played yet, and I think that Oregon State will probably be able to take care of business due to their loaded offense led by DJ Uiagalelei. This season he has thrown for 828 yards with 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions and has looked absolutely amazing, while they also have a star running back in Martinez, who has carried for 57 carries for 432 yards and a touchdown this season. And I honestly just don't see the Utah Utes being able to shut down the Oregon State offense, who has averaged 459 yards a game this season. So I'm actually going to take Oregon State to win this game, as I think that they will take care of business at home against the Utah Utes in a score of a low one of a 24-17 victory. Next up, we have the Penn State Nittany Lions traveling to take on Northwestern at Ryan Field in Evanston, Illinois. And this game is a huge Big Ten conference game for Penn State, and I guess you can say Northwestern. However, Penn State's easily going to take care of business in this game, and I don't have to do much explaining. The Penn State Nittany Lions have arguably the best defense in college football this year, and Northwestern has an awful offense. I think that at most, the Penn State Nittany Lions allow Northwestern to score 10, maybe even 7 points, and I think that Penn State will easily cover the spread and take care of business in a huge blowout. I'm saying Penn State covers the spread and wins 41-7. Next up, we have a very interesting game at 12 o'clock as USC takes on Colorado at Colorado Stadium in Folsom Field, located in Boulder, Colorado. And before last week, when Colorado got absolutely destroyed by Oregon, this would have been the top game of the week. However, we finally saw Colorado play to their standard, as I think that that is probably how they will play the rest of the year against huge opponents in the Pac-12, and USC is probably going to take care of business in this game. Colorado has one of the worst defenses in college football, and we saw this last week against Oregon, and USC has one of the best offenses in the entire college football landscape, as they have a star-studded quarterback and the Heisman reigning winner in the man, the myth, the legend, Caleb Williams. And as we all expected, USC is heavily favored in this game, as their offense is averaging 569 yards a game, and their star quarterback, Caleb Williams, has thrown for 1,200 yards with 15 touchdowns and 0 turnovers. And Colorado's defense is just looking awful this year, as they are allowing over 470 yards a game. And even with this game being at home, I think that USC will completely destroy Colorado and probably win this game in a score of like a weird one, like a 45-14 score. And next up, we have a pretty big SEC matchup between the Florida Gators and the Kentucky Wildcats. Florida is ranked number 22, and they have to take on Kentucky, who is 4-0 at Kroger Field, located in Lexington, Kentucky. And surprisingly, Vegas thinks that this game is pretty even, as they're giving both teams about a 50% chance of winning. However, I don't think this game will be close at all. Kentucky has played easy opponents through the first 4 weeks, and this is just overinflating their record. They are 4-0, but they have played easy competition, and they are still only averaging 396 yards a game and allowing over 300 yards a game on defense. And that's the issue, because Florida's offense is absolutely insane. They have one of the best running backs in college football, Trevor Etienne, who has had 49 carries this year and is having over 300 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns. And honestly, he's going to be the difference maker in this game, as I see Florida taking care of business against Kentucky in a very low scoring 21-10 score. Next up, we have an interesting ACC matchup between Clemson and Syracuse at 12 o'clock, and this game will be played at Syracuse's home stadium, located in Syracuse, New York. And currently right now, Syracuse is 4-0, however they have played some rather easy opponents, while Clemson is 2-2, however they have lost to 2 pretty good teams in Duke and Florida State. And even with Syracuse being 4-0 and this being at their home stadium, Clemson will take care of business in this game. There's no way they're going to start off the season 2-3 under Dabo Swinney. This is a huge bounce back game for the Clemson Tigers, and they're going to take care of business against Syracuse due to their loaded offense. I think Clemson takes care of business pretty easily too, as I'm going to say they win this game 35-14. Next up, we have one of the most hyped games of college football week number 5. However, I don't even understand why, as Georgia is taking on Auburn in Jordan-Hare Stadium located in Auburn, Alabama. And I don't understand why this game is being so hyped up. Georgia is going to absolutely steamroll Auburn. Georgia is heavily favored going to this game, and it makes complete sense. They have a much better offense than Auburn and a much better defense, as they are averaging 496 yards a game on offense and allowing just 282 yards on defense. And there is no way that Auburn's offense is going to be able to keep up with Georgia's, as Georgia will probably score 45 points in this game and ultimately beat Auburn by a score of like 45 to like 10 maybe. And this is just a huge game for Georgia. They need to get a blowout victory to really pump their stats. Next up, we have a Big 12 game, which actually is kind of like a basketball game, as both of these teams are ranked that usually aren't, in Kansas versus Texas, taking place in Texas Memorial Stadium located in Austin, Texas. And yes, you heard that right, both teams are ranked, as Kansas comes in at number 24 and Texas at number 3. As we all expected, Texas is heavily favored in this game, and it is due to their high-powered offense. This season, the Texas Longhorns are averaging 432 yards on offense and just allowing 298 yards on defense. However, don't sleep on the Kansas Jayhawks, as they have one of the best quarterbacks in college football this year. Kansas Jayhawks have a star quarterback in Jalen Daniels, who has looked absolutely amazing this college football season. He has been one of the best quarterbacks in recent years. However, Texas also has a good quarterback in Quinn Ewers. And y'all honestly need to stop sleeping on Kansas, as I think they will make this game a lot closer than you expect. I still think that they will end up losing to Texas in a score of 27-24 though. Next up, we have a huge SEC matchup as the LSU Tigers take on the Ole Miss Rebels. And in this game, the number 13 LSU Tigers will have to travel to the number 20 Ole Miss Rebels at Vaught-Henning Stadium located in Oxford, Mississippi. And surprisingly, in this game, Ole Miss is actually slightly favored. And these teams are actually pretty evenly matched, as LSU is averaging 530 yards on offense, while Ole Miss is averaging 470. And then LSU's defense is allowing 360 yards a game, while Ole Miss is only averaging 350. However, I think the difference in this game is LSU's quarterback, Jaden Daniels. He is arguably the best quarterback in college football, and if not a top 5 quarterback for sure in college football. And this season, he has thrown for 1,296 yards with 12 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, and also has been a beast rushing the ball. And I honestly think that LSU's offense and Jaden Daniels is the difference in this game. LSU needs to get a huge win to improve to 4-1 this season. And I think LSU will pick up a huge game that will decide the future of their season in this one in a very close score. I'm going to take a 25-21 victory for the LSU Tigers. Guys, if you're still watching, make sure to subscribe so we can get on to the rest of this video. But next up, we have the biggest game of college football week number 5 as the Notre Dame Fighting Irish take on the Duke Blue Devils in Wallace Wade Stadium located in Durham. Both offenses are pretty similar in this game, as Notre Dame is averaging 477 yards a game to Duke's 424. And both of the defenses are actually very similar too, as Duke is allowing just 276 yards a game, while Notre Dame is allowing 260 yards a game. And honestly, both teams' quarterbacks are pretty good in Sam Hartman and Riley Leonard. However, I think the difference in this game is Notre Dame's rushing attack led by Audric Estime. This season, Estime has run for 591 yards and 5 touchdowns, and this could honestly be the difference maker in this game. However, Duke has also looked very legit this year, as they have a running back who has 7 touchdowns this season. So I'm taking the Blue Devils to win this game in an upset of a score of 21-20. And the final game we will be breaking down of college football week number 5 is between Alabama and Mississippi State. As many of us expected, the Alabama Crimson Tide are heavily favored in this game, as they are projected minus 14.5. And I honestly don't even understand why, as both of these offenses are pretty similar, as Alabama's is averaging 364 yards a game compared to Mississippi State's 388. However, probably the difference in this game is that Mississippi State's defense is awful, as they are allowing 400 yards a game compared to Alabama Crimson Tide's 307. And I think that this will make the big difference in this game, as Alabama will find a way to get it done with Jalen Milroe and Nick Saban leading the way. Alabama is just too good of a team to lose a game to Mississippi State this year, as they cannot fall to 3-2 this year. And Alabama will pick up a huge victory, as they will win this game 27-13. And that rounds out week 5 of the college football season. If you're still here, why are you not subscribed? Make sure to subscribe, because I'm doing this every single week.